Welcome back, Kiwi Yoinkers and all other folk to Sunsaw Gaming. Today we are in a training room with Meadsy69, aka Darren. Now I was just chilling and he sent me this message asking if I could join him for a minute. And this is what he decided he was going to be doing with me. He brought a Mark 1 Defender, which is the tier 1 British tank. Now, I wasn't playing Blitz when this thing came into the game, so I have zero knowledge on this tank. During these matches, I had no idea what I was up against. All I knew was it was a heavy tank, so I went and bought a tier 1 that had good pen. And big thanks to Darren for inviting me to this training room. I had a blast, to be honest, even though I was getting my ass kicked. And rightly so. I mean, the tank he is driving here is very, very awesome. Now, if you haven't watched his video on this, go and watch it. It's good, and it explains a few things about the tank, and part of the reason why I get my ass absolutely handed to me. Now, I'm not going to take too long because it's just one-on-one, so I'll go straight for a cap base here, just to let him know where I am. And I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous what this tank can do, and you're about to see here. He is this tank is just insane for a heavy tank. He's facing the other way. He is driving away from me. I'm at top speed and I should be behind him, but no, he's already facing me. That tank has a really, really good traverse speed, and as you can see there, pretty much no armor. It is very soft indeed. But I mean, I could not get around him. I could not do very much against this thing in a tier 1. Probably took an unnecessary shot there, but hey, it was bound to happen. Now, as you can see, this thing has very little armor, but those tracks on this tank do soak up a lot of damage. Get a lucky track shot there to stop him from pushing me out, but he repairs it like a smart person, and I'm pretty much dead. There we go. That was tier 1 versus tier 1. Now, Darren turns around and he's like, you know what? Hop in a tier 2. Bring a tier 2. So I turn around and I go and buy myself a tier 2 tank. Well, I was going to buy a tier 2, but it turns out I actually had one, which was this T2 Lite. Now, this thing's not too slow, so I figured, let's give it a crack. We will use our speed and mobility out here in the field just to, you know, stay at a distance and fight them at a distance. Now, this thing fires 2 shots per shell, and it has 3 shells in its chamber. It doesn't help. It does not help against this Mark 1 Defender that Darren's driving here. And, I mean, I'm just being very cautious. I mean, I know Darren knows kind of how I play. We've had a fair few matches together in the past. But, you know, I'm sitting here, I'm waiting for him, and when I figure, hey, you know what, he's not going to show up, there he is. Shows up. Now, I'm off. I'm already at 37 kilometers per hour. He hits me while turning on a snapshot at that speed. So, I'm just going to get away from him. I'm going to reset my camo, and I'm going to try again. Again, if you haven't watched his video, go and watch it. It shows just what that tank can do. And, I mean, if you guys can comment on his video and stuff, and, I don't know, show support for this tank, get it back in the game, I reckon it would be really, really good. Not as tier 1. Personally, I don't think this tank that he's driving, the Mark 1 heavy tank here, I do not think it belongs in tier 1 at all. I mean, Wargaming could quite easily put it into tier 3 and it would be right at home. That's how powerful this thing is at tier 1. But, you know what? Wargaming probably won't. It's probably another tank similar to the Keniotsu. But I mean, just there, like, he'd gotten away from me quite nicely and managed to get to cap. Now, I do get lucky there and dodge that first shot, get my couple of rounds into him, and I probably should have stopped behind these crates, but I did not, and he gets a very nice 81 damage into the arse end of my tank. Now I figure I'm going to use this little spot here, try and flick some shells through, but it doesn't work. I'm on a reload, and I go for the bait shot, which I get. Unfortunately, I did get it on the first try. I wasn't ready for it, I wasn't reloaded. But again, before I've even finished reloading my clip, he has reloaded. That thing's got just under 6-second reload, I believe, and that shot there, again, I tried to bait it. He only had the very slither of the top of my turret, and he managed to knock me for another whopping amount of damage. So I think, okay, I'm in a fairly quick tank. Let's try and, you know, get in close and circle him. We're going to use these turrets here on this warship to try and get around him. So he's poked out the side. I'm going to get him to turn and get him to come out the other side here, and then I'm going to try and just weave between these turrets and get behind him. Yeah, for a heavy tank, it should not, like, I crashed into that wall there, but by the time I've crashed into that wall, he had already turned around and he whoops me. Once again, tier 2 versus a tier 1, and he's just warped me. He turns around and says, you know what, go hop into tier 3, try a tier 3. So that's exactly what I do. I go and jump into a tier 3. Now this is a tier 3 versus a tier 1, and it's not a soft tier 3 either. This is, well, was known back in the day as the Mini Mouse, just because it is a very strong tier 3 medium. And I mean, this is a medium. It's not a heavy, it's a medium. It might as well be a heavy at the tier, but it's not. And even with that, Darren is still able to almost completely outplay me in this tank, which is utterly ridiculous for a tier 1. Now, we are on Hellas, and we're not messing around. I'm going to go to the cap. He's right there, going to cap. And I'm just... It's absolutely amazing. Like, there you go, 93 damage. Just, he didn't even aim up for that shot. I mean, I hit him back for an 87. He's doing the same amount of damage as a tier 3 tank. Now, he's fired, I've fired. I'm going to use this chance to get in a little bit closer to him, try and get a bit more damage in. And I see this wall up here. I'm like, you know what, let's side scrape off this wall. Let's try and get a few bounces, because that's the only way I'm going to beat this tank. I missed my fire button there, unfortunately, but I do redeem myself. Shoot him in the tracks, get 85 damage, and I'm over angled. He puts another very nice round straight through the side of my tank. As you can see, I hit his tracks again. That Mark 1 heavy tank, the tracks soak up a lot of damage on it. It may not have armor, but the tracks are huge. Like, I'm just going to try and get behind him, and I'm going to try and finish him off. I have almost more than double his HP at this point. I take a nasty shot, have to dodge the pillar to get around him, which unfortunately allows him to turn and get back on me. Now, as you can see, the little message there, hope I didn't play too badly, but you know what, I fully did. There was nothing I could really do to that tank. So thank you again, Darren, Meadsy, for letting me join you in this training room, and for all you yoinkers out there, if you like this content, please like and subscribe to my channel. Until next time, guys, stay safe, use cover. Cheers.